Daniel Lissenbigler was arrested by the Clay County, Florida Sheriff's Office. But within 10 days, Lissenbigler would die in custody. All the police will say is that he was in restraints. PoliceAbuse.com has been investigating this homicide, and we believe that crimes may have been committed by jail staff. We received information directly from inmates who may have witnessed the homicide. We have also received new information from inmates previously incarcerated in the same jail shortly before Lissenbigler's death. They, too, have reported misconduct. We are releasing audio tapes of witness statements made to PoliceAbuse.com because we believe the tapes are in the public interest.
County Jail. Daniel Lissenbigler was murdered in there Tuesday morning. The police officers tied him to a restraint chair, sprayed mace in a bag, and put it over his head. He was crying and begging for his life. Please take it off. It's burning me. Please take it off. He started gasping for air about 5 minutes later. He went quiet, and it took him about 15 or 20 minutes to get help to him. The boy's now dead. He's 19, and they're covering it up, calling it a health problem, accidental death, or whatever. But it's the Clay County Police Department. And there's a lot of other abuses going on in that jail at this time. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the gentleman that called earlier. I'm trying to reach the man who was reporting the complaint.
Hold on. Hello?
Okay, you got a few minutes, sir?
Do what?
I said, do you have a few minutes to talk about the complaint?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first thing I need to know is what's developed since the last time I spoke with you. Has there been any other abuse? Is there anybody else suffering from any sort of a problem? And then I have a few more questions.
Well, I really don't want to discuss it a whole lot more. I got to find out a little bit more what's going on because somebody's in there that's close to me, and I don't want them, hurt or something. Well, if I'm worried about them, you know what I mean. If your family was in there and you thought that the officers could get to them, what would you do?
I would do the right thing. And what you're doing right now, I understand your feelings, but if they kill somebody else, that's going to be for something for you to sleep with. If you're telling me that they beat somebody so badly and maced them that they died in custody, but that you can't tell me any details about it because your relative is concerned for his safety, the only thing that's going to make him safe is telling me. Now, let me just finish. I have another case on my website, and maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. But if you go to the Internal Affairs page on our website, you'll see a woman whose son is in Holmes County Jail in Florida. I'm in Florida too. They beat him. They made him scrub the toilet with a toothbrush and then brush his teeth with it. And the only thing that saved that kid's life is I called the sheriff's office and put my foot down on somebody's neck and made him start moving to get it resolved. Now, the FBI's looking into it, and hopefully this guy is safe. Your relative, he may be the next one they strap into a chair. And if you think they don't know and they don't have prisoners who are leaking information, if he's already told you, they probably already know something's going on. So here's what I'm going to do. You have my number. If you want to use it, then give us a call back. But I don't chase stories. I got too many serious cases where people have gotten beaten and they want to talk and they want help. So if your nephew or whoever is in jail wants to put a stop to this, my name is Mr. Kamal. You call me back. If he wants to continue to believe that it's just going to go away, then he can keep believing that, but it's not going to change until he tells someone. So that's all I have to say, and I wish you success. Okay, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's pick up where we left off. You had some additional information about a homicide in the Clay County Jail, and I'm going to take a recorded statement. I did agree to keep you anonymous and keep your source anonymous, and I will abide by that agreement, so I have not asked you for your name, but I do need you to at least verify that you know someone who is accessible to this information, and you're now providing it to me as a public interest. You're making sure that you're doing the right thing, as we discussed in our last conversation. Am I generally correct in what I'm describing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't want to put you or your family member or your source or whoever you're talking to about this, I don't want to put them at any risk, so let me just say that their name is not necessary, but is it your position that they witnessed something that you believe to be a crime?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did they report this information to you to get it out to the police or to some recognizable authority?
Yeah, in a way, he's real scared.
Okay. All right. Well,
He's been threatened. He's done been threatened by a police officer that if he talked, he would be charged with it because he knowed about it, and that other things possibly bad could happen to him.
Okay. Well, those are equally serious crimes. So let's just start generally with what you were told about the death of an inmate in the Clay County Jail. What do you know about that, and what other incidents have taken place that are of a similar type? And if there is retaliation, describe what retaliation you're aware of.
Well, the boy that died in there, I guess on Tuesday morning or Tuesday night, he was strapped in a chair. As far as I know, hearsay, he was I guess they had sprayed mace or something in a bag and put it over his head, is what I heard. And the boy started hollering and screaming and telling him that his eyes was burning, his face was burning, and that his throat was swelling shut and he couldn't breathe, and that went on for 5 or 10 minutes. Then he started gagging, and that went on for, X amount of minutes. The person in there, they couldn't really, tell. He said then it was silence for 15 or 20 minutes. He said before anyone come to help the boy. So
the other inmates could hear the sounds of the person who was dying.
Oh yeah. Well, it's actually, and what I'm fixing to tell you is going to put the person in risk. It's on the solitary confinement floor. So they're going to know right where the information come from.
Okay. And the inmate who died was on that floor?
Yes, sir. In the hallway, is what I understood.
Okay. Do you know if any sort of a official or jail official or anyone working for the sheriff has made any effort to interview any of the inmates about what happened?
Well, other than the one that come in there and told, I don't know how many he's went to or how many was on the floor, but I know that they told the one that if he said anything or told anything about it, that he would be charged with accessory to murder and or something worse.
So
which is more or less threatening his life. The same thing could happen to you.
So one of the persons who witnessed this event is being told that there could be consequences for talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. And can you tell me any more about the incident? Maybe how many people heard it? Was it something that was discussed? Did the jailers come back afterwards and do any more than what you described in terms of threatening this one person? Did they say anything to anyone else?
I don't know. I know that there was a woman, I guess a jailer or a police officer that was involved in it. I don't know actually that he could see, because he's in solitary confinement. But he could hear the whole thing because he's called me and said he can't even sleep at night now because of what he heard. And the woman that was there, one of the jailers or police officer, told the guy when he was begging him that he was getting what he deserved.
Someone heard a jailer or a deputy say that? A female deputy?
Yeah, a female.
Okay, we might be able to verify through employment records that a female was working on that shift, and if we could, would you know what her name is? Can you find out?
No, I don't know. I don't know that he knows. Like I said, the last time he called me and told me that they had threatened him, I told him, shut up, Dad. And now I just told you his name.
Okay.
That they're listening to our dadgum phone conversation.
Okay.
Shut up, don't speak no more of it. Because if something bad happens to him in there, then this is going to be on my shoulders, and I know that there's not going to be tough enough consequences for the police officers.
Okay. Well, let me do this. I'm going to delete that part of this statement so that it's not on any recording. So only I know his name, and you don't need to say it again.
Okay.
Okay, so I can delete that. Now, all I want is the facts so that I can get someone to look into this. You mentioned that there were other incidents. What else has happened in there that would be inappropriate, abusive, or criminal, if you know?
Well, the same boy that's told me all of this, I know that he went without baths for 3 to 4 days at a time. And they have about starved him down. He's lost 20 to 30 pounds in about 2.5 months.
So they're not feeding the prisoners and they're not allowing them to shower regularly?
No, sir. Now, this boy, and anything I'm telling you right now, they'll know who it is automatically.
Okay.
Because there's probably only one in there like that.
Okay. Well, let's do this.
You want me to say any more? Just shut up.
No. I want you to tell me everything you think you can, and what I will do is I'll use my discretion, and I'll take anything out that I think makes any further identification of him. I'm going to keep it as vague as possible with just the elements that I think are absolutely necessary to be made public. So just tell me, whatever else you know, and then I'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, this boy here, you're going to have to take this out. I'm going to just tell you, I don't know who you are, and I'm probably messing up.
No, I'm... Okay. And the other... How many people are on that unit, the other people that may have witnessed what happened?
That's something I don't know, because they keep them all in separate, I guess that's what they call it, solitary confinement.
Okay.
So I don't know how many cells is right there by him. I don't know anything about it. I didn't know if you had something to do with the article that was in the paper today.
Actually, no, I don't. What paper was it in?
Florida Times Union.
Okay, I'm just taking that down. And let me ask you a question. Did you release any information to the press?
No, sir. I've wanted to badly, but I haven't.
Okay, and it's in the paper today?
Yes, sir. It says that, and that finally gives up that he was strapped in a chair, and that he had a suit on where you're confined for movement, but it don't say nothing about none of the rest.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me take a look at that article. If I need to call you back, am I able to reach you at the number you gave me earlier?
I'm out of business right now. I just come up here to use this phone.
Okay, good enough. All right, then, let's just leave it at that for right now. You know how to reach me. If I need to say something to you, I'll call that business and just say I'm trying to find you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, like I said, I hate to put that boy in danger because he's in danger now.
Well,
that article that come out today, I'm pretty sure they're checking into who might know something other or what.
Well, this is what I'm gonna try to do, which is what I told you the first time we talked. My job is not to make it more unsafe, but there's only one path out of the woods, and that is to tell the right people and make sure that they're held accountable in that jail. And you can't get around that. That's the only way out. So that's how I'm going to proceed. I'm going to notify the right people and make sure that he's safe. Now, you do me a favor. You have my phone numbers. If he says that he's being assaulted, further threatened, or anything else like that, let me know. I'm going to be his direct link to the police department above the police department. Okay? So don't worry about that. I'm going to publish some of what you told me, but I won't publish the things that I think are going to identify him. I only want to publish the parts that are relevant to the issue of did someone get hurt. and is there a case here? But beyond that, I'm not going to try to put him in a position where I can't support him or protect him. I'm going to put it in the hands of people who can make sure that he's safe. So don't worry about it. You just call me if he tells you otherwise.
Yeah, well, I'm worried, like I said, he's only allowed to call when he goes out to take a bath, and that identifies him too. Mm-hmm. And, if you don't hear from him like today, I ain't heard from him, you're worried to death. Mm-hmm. Because you know that they're apt to do something. And I'm not the onlyest one that this is going on with. If you published an article where you was contacted by the people that have been beat up by police officers or the jailers, you would be surprised. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the sad part about it. Mm-hmm.
All right, sir.
I'm telling you that right now. If I had an article published telling everybody that had been assaulted by a police officer or by a jailer down there and to meet at the Clay County Courthouse, their parking lot wouldn't hold them. Mm.
Well, listen, I'm going to try to get someone to look into this. That's my goal. So let me do this. I'm going to go now because I want to take the notes that you've given me and organize them and get this in a report that I can provide to the right person.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
All right, sir. Thank you. Take care.
PoliceAbuse.com, how can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm calling to see if there's anything I can do to help out your current investigation with the Daniel kid that was killed in Clay County.
Oh, so you have some evidence of some sort?
I don't know if I have evidence. I was actually there in July, and I was reading his story, and a lot of the events that I know his father was told, my wife was told the same thing. I actually was a victim that ended up going to the hospital. Nothing was ever done about it, though. And even in my medical reports from the hospital, they don't, they're conflicting. Basically, I was...
Sir, 1 second, sir, yes. Because I'm going to see if I might have to take your name, but let me see if I have someone on duty that can speak to you. Please hold.
Sir? Yes, sir.
Yeah, you had some information about the Clay County Jail?
Primarily, when I was reading about when his father said that they check on you every 15 minutes for medical, that basically they throw you in there it's a holding cell, but they consider it confinement, even if you have a medical condition. But they don't check on you. They just basically leave you there for days without anything. And if you do cause any trouble, then they're going to rough you up a little bit, put you in the chair. That actually, when they found me, I was unconscious due to the police there. But I know that don't pertain to him, but I can kind of relate because I went through it. The only difference is I lived through it.
You were taken into custody by Clay County Sheriff or somebody else?
Clay County, that is correct. I had one count of grand theft. That's what I was charged with through my own company, which that's, neither here nor there. I can tell you my experience, and then you can tell me how it relates with him. I feel bad for the father, That from day one when I was in there, they immediately put me in confinement and told me I had a medical condition, which, I did with my back and everything, but they took me to the emergency room the first day. They shipped me back to the hospital, and from that day forward, they took away my phone privileges, said I was an escape risk because I went to the hospital. They put me in that 15-minute medical watch in confinement, and, I'm not a threat to society. My charges didn't. There was no reason I should be there. They literally kept me there 23 days in confinement with no communication from my family, anything. On day 6, they ended up taking me to the emergency in an ambulance. The report said that I was throwing toilet water on myself, but I still have the scars from the hands and everything. They actually beat me so bad that I was unconscious. The officers on duty, if you cause any issues there, they pretty much just beat the shit out of you or they strap you to that chair. and put that little hood.
Well, look, listen. There's a lot of people who are following this case online, and even the family. I talked to their lawyer recently, and I think he's going to want to know this. And you're a source of information that could really help them. So do me a favor. Just for the next couple of minutes, I want you to describe for someone who doesn't know anything about that jail how someone gets attacked, what you saw, what they did to you, how did they strap you down, who hit you. I mean, if they punched you, tell me. Walk me through it, starting with, let's just say you had some sort of dispute with the guards, and it was the first time you were assaulted. What did they do? How did that happen?
I can only speak from my personal experience and what I saw there. Basically, the first thing is they'll handcuff you. If you say anything back, talk back, anything like that, the next step is they'll basically hog tie you. If you try to struggle from there, basically next thing you know, you have 3 or 4 officers on you. And it's anything from, that basically knees in the back of your neck, laying full weight on your body. I mean, it's just brutality, man. I mean, it is. I don't know how else to describe it to you. There's a lot of things that should be done. I mean, I lived through it, but I don't know exactly what they did. I mean, I was found unconscious, so what they did was pretty substantial. I can't tell you exactly what blow knocked me out or anything like that.
Okay, well, okay, so let me ask you this. If you don't know how you were initially assaulted by the officers, tell me this. Were you injured? Did you wake up with bruises? How did you know that you'd been assaulted?
Yeah, I had lesions on my wrists, on my knees, from where I was drugged from cell to cell. The lesions on my wrists were due because they handcuff you on your back. When you're handcuffed behind your back, and basically they'll just drag you with those hands. I mean, you can ask anyone there. It's pretty brutal there, man.
Okay, how long were you in custody, and how did you get out? What happened?
I was there from May 31st until August of 2012. So I was there, right on 45 days. I got out because I took a plea deal, and currently still on my probation that I'm serving for that. You take my medical report, for example. If it's something that could help the family, I mean, anybody like you that's an investigator, if you pick through my medical report, I can only imagine what you would find with his. The events, how they don't match up, they contradict each other, the officer's statements. Basically, to put it short, they beat me unconscious, took me to the hospital, and then they didn't even notify my wife. She didn't even know that I was there until a week later when I finally got a visitation. They don't notify any type of family for emergency or anything like that.
So basically what you're saying is that the treatment of prisoners who need medical care is pretty bad.
The treatment, let me change. The treatment of people who need medical care, they put you in what they consider a medical. What that is, they have a 30-minute watch and a 15-minute watch. They have designated confinement cells in the confinement area that are for medical prisoners. Now, when they say watch, what is supposed to happen, according to them, is every 15 minutes, an officer on duty is supposed to come by the door, do a verbal check to make sure that you're okay, make sure you're not having any issues. But these are not medically trained staff. These are just correctional officers. These are not the nurses, anything like that. But what I'm saying is they don't come by and check on you every 15 or 30 minutes. It doesn't happen. But what I don't understand is I know they have video cameras in that confinement space. I don't see how they really get away with what they do because I don't know who monitors that. But I do know in confinement everything has to be videotaped 24/7 for their protection also. You can see the monitors when you go back and forth to the showers. So that may be something the family wants to look into.
Okay, and one more thing. You said they strap people down. Have you seen someone get strapped down, and how do they do that?
Yes, sir. They didn't strap me down in the chair. They basically hog-tied me and when I took the blow to the back of the head, you know, I was unconscious. But when they did strap me to the, when the ambulance was carrying me out, it was so tight that I could hardly breathe, man. It's like, that's the reason I called you today. It's like, I'm not one of those people that call in or get involved or anything like that. But when I know what I went through, I can only imagine a 19-year-old kid. Like, I couldn't breathe or anything like that. Like, yeah, I didn't die, thank God, but, like, I can relate with the kid. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, you're telling me that they hit you in the back of the head and knocked you out and then put you in an ambulance and you were twisted up to the point.
Exactly. I mean, maybe if I, you know, I got no problem if you want to look over my medical records. Like, for example, when they took me to the emergency room, all the police statement says is that I was found unconscious and that my oxygen was going from 96 all the way down to 76, which, if you know anything about medical, is substantially bad. It also states in there that I was found unconscious, and then it comes back and says I was unruly and I was throwing toilet water all over my body. The statements just contradict each other. I mean, they're just ridiculous. I mean, if you read through the whole, you know, when they take you anywhere, the police have to provide statements, but they just don't match up whatsoever. And then they say the lesions on my wrists and my elbows were superficial, and then when the hospital, you know, release me, they give me care advice for my wounds. And then they document the wounds, but yet in the police report they say that they're superficial wounds. But I still have the scars on my wrist today from where the handcuffs were put so tightly that it basically, you know, dug into my skin fat enough to where it would leave scars. My knees, everything like that. From my experience, when they did finally move me to a different cell 15 days later, the reason I really feel strongly about something was done wrong to the kid is they literally dragged me by my ankles with my head bouncing off the fucking ground all the way into another cell, which is, you don't treat humans like that, you know?
They dragged you with your hands behind your back?
Yes, sir. If you don't get up and move, they'll drag your ass. It's that simple.
Your head was going down a staircase?
Yeah, mine was. But, you know, I can only speak for myself. But I really don't know how to get away with this stuff.
You're definitely entitled to speak for yourself. I'm just asking you, was this done by guards who were taking you from one cell to another?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I lost control of my bodily functions. I mean, my body just shut down on me. And they came in the cell, stripped me down naked. You know, I was laying on the ground. I couldn't move. I lost some mobility. And then they grabbed me by my ankles and just dragged me to a different cell, I guess to clean up the other cell. And then I stayed in that cell for 3 or 4 days. And then they finally moved me to another one, which I walked to that one. But if you don't go to the cell when they say get up or you can't or something's wrong with you, they'll just drag your ass to the next one. I mean, it's that bad.
Where is the supervision? Are there any lieutenants or commanding officers on duty, and what do they do when things happen?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know that. All I know is there's always a supervisor on staff, but I believe that supervisor watches over the different dorms, whether it be A, B, C, or D. You know, they're designated for certain areas. And in each area, there's always an officer on duty, except for the main doors. Confinement's a little bit different. Confinement, you're just in a room. I mean, it's a room, a toilet, and that's it, you know?
Have you seen anyone that was subjected to anything beyond the restraints, just being put in the chair?
The chair specifically, mine details more with just manhandling people, if that makes any sense. Basically, if you're handcuffed and you got shackles on your ankles and your wrists, you're not going anywhere. But they'll slam you against the wall. They'll push your head against the wall. They'll grab your little jumpsuit, twist it up in a knot, and pull you by it.
Now hold on. This is all in the solitary confinement area, or is this anywhere?
This is it. I mean, it's not as bad in the general population. I was there for general population for like a month. But yeah, when they come in, like say at nighttime when they do bed checks, it's an open dorm in general population. But if you say something that, like the officer tells you to shut up or something like that, and you say something back, they'll jerk your ass out of bed, drag you down the damn stairs, put you in a little pod, and cuff you up. And you know the best thing for you to do is to be quiet, or they're going to end up beating the shit out of you. And if that doesn't happen, I mean, they won't do it themselves. They'll call in some kind of code. And then you got, next thing you know, you have 3 or 4 officers coming out. I literally seen probably 10 or 12 people carried out, you know, and roughed up on the way out. They don't waste any time. And then you immediately go to confinement.
Listen, I have a client I have to talk to. I'm already overdue a half an hour. I want to talk to you again, and you have our number. I don't know if your number came up on caller ID, but are you open to being talked to again if we keep your name confidential?
Yeah, as long as you keep my stuff confidential. And I'd be more than happy to provide you, you know, if I can help the family, that's my main objective here. If there's some way I can help the family by you not investigating me, I mean, mine is done. There's really nothing I can do about it at this point. But if you can, you know, if my chain of events that I went through can help you understand, help the family, then I'd be more than happy to show you all kind of documentation that you need, as long as it stays confidential. The biggest thing is I noticed the father said that they said that they watch him every 15 or 30 minutes. He didn't mention 30, but that's the 2 medical. When they put you in confinement, if you're considered medical, that's the 2 medical. What do you call it? You're either on 15-minute watch or 30-minute watch. But if there's any way you can help them check into that, they do not check them. You can be in there for a day or 3 hours or 24 hours before you see any contact from anyone. Now, they do have monitors, you know, that's on 24/7. But when you have 24 pods in the room, I don't really see how a cop can sit there and watch every single pod. And if they do, why do they allow some of the things to happen? I mean,
so your suspicion is to them not being interested in terms of what you said earlier, but you think that they are just not completely staffed to do what they need to do?
I think they are completely staffed. I just don't think they give a shit. It's really a place. I mean, if you really dig into it, I'm not going to be the only person you find like me. I can't be. That place is known for, you know, there's a lot of rumors, this and that, but that place is known for incidents like this. I mean, it really is. It's the staff in general. It's the good old boy system. Does that make any? I mean, they're all cousins, brothers, uncles. I mean, if you check into it, I'm pretty sure they're all kin to each other. It's unconstitutional, number one, and if you're a law authority and you're taking on the job to be a correctional officer, I mean, people are not cattle. You can't treat them. I mean, they are humans there. No matter what their crime, no matter how serious, no matter how not serious it is, you just can't treat people like that. I mean, they really are extremely aggressive. I guess is